Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm Tom Strong, President and CEO of CanBIM and Principal at Wired Construction. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have a presentation from SolidCAD featuring Bluebeam. If you're not familiar with Bluebeam, it's probably the most dominant system out there for reviewing PDF files, marking up drawings and whatnot. Very important product in the ecosystem that we all participate in, and excited to have SolidCAD help us understand that product, the features in it, and some of the improvements that they've made. They have great expertise in that category. So thanks so much for joining the Feature Friday this week. As you know, this is our monthly series that's focused on sharing knowledge and innovation on new technologies and processes and best practices. So great to have you here. And thank you so much for joining, and thank you to our partners and sponsors that make this possible. If you're not familiar with this new system that we're rolling out, it's called Hopin. Well, obviously you kind of figured that out since you're here already. But poke around the system, explore. There's a lot of opportunities to network with other individuals. There's a feature that allows for like booths so that you can meet with vendors and learn about products. After this session, the presentation wraps up, SolidCAD is going to be available for consultation. So jump into their booth and talk to them, ask questions, get more information. Really encourage that. So in the main stage where we are, this is where the presentation is going to take place. There's a networking area, there's an expo area, there's a reception area. So go ahead and explore that after we wrap up. So I'm going to introduce Camilla Lima Perez, who is the AEC technical consultant for SolidCAD. She's based in Calgary. She graduated as an architectural technologist, and she has deep expertise in Revit and Bluebeam. And I'm also going to introduce Joanne Bujea, who is the account manager. She's based in Toronto. She's been with SolidCAD for a long time. I'm sure a lot of people have met her. She's a staple at our live events, which we're hoping to get back to very soon. So Joanne, if you want to come in.
Hello.
How did I do with the pronunciation of your name?
Perfect.
Excellent.
Sounded great.
Okay, I'm going to get out of the way and turn it over to you, and good luck.
All right. Thank you to everyone for joining us today, and thank you to CanBIM for hosting this session on optimizing your workflow. Today, we're showcasing the PDF document management solution, Bluebeam Review. Our speaker today, Camilla, will show you how to calculate cost estimations, floor space ratios, and use Bluebeam Review for time management. My name is Joanne Bujea. I'm an account manager at SolidCAD. I've been with the sales team for nearly 9 years. Camilla Lima Pires will be the presenter today. Here's a very brief look at our agenda. I'll just speak about SolidCAD very briefly. And then, of course, the Bluebeam presentation by Camilla will be about what is a markup list, creating custom columns, adding markups to the tool chest, creating PDF summaries and Excel spreadsheets, and linking data between PDF and Excel. And of course, then we'll have a approximately 10-minute Q&A session at the end. Just about SolidCAD. For over 25 years, SolidCAD has operated as one of the leading professional services and sales companies in Canada. We're purely Canadian. We provide a high level of support and customer services for the technology that we sell. What do we do? At SolidCAD, we help our clients implement technology and optimize their workflows by becoming more efficient with the products that we provide. These are just some of the products that we sell and represent to help our clients optimize their workflows. We specialize in technology that supports multiple industries, including architecture, engineering, construction, civil infrastructure, and manufacturing. For all of the products that SolidCAD sells, we offer training, and this could be custom training. The curriculum is customized to meet your requirements and goals, or even Bluebeam courses are available, such as Bluebeam Fundamentals. We also offer open enrollment training open to all students of all levels. All right, everyone, thank you very much for your attention so far. And now for our presentation, Optimizing Your Workflow with Bluebeam. And of course, our speaker today, Camilla Lima Pires. As Tom said, she's coming to us from Calgary. She's been with SolidCAD for just over 2 years and as an AEC technical specialist with Revit and BIM as well. She came from Summit Technologies before that. She's an expert in her field at Bluebeam Support. We hope you enjoy the presentation. So here we go.
Thank you very much, Joanne. I'm just sharing my screen right now. Great. So to start a presentation of today, I want to touch base with one of the integration that not a lot of people know about it, which is the Bluebeam in Revit. So with that integration, we can it's automatically installed when you install Bluebeam. It installs in Revit, this add-in in here. With that add-in, you can create PDF files and adjust settings and create 3D PDF as well. One of the settings that I want to point it out is I'm just going to click here under settings is, so there are a few things here that we can do. So we can create the PDF straight from this, and Bluebeam recognizes the sheet size. So it's kind of an automatic thing it does. And the other thing is exporting rooms to area measurement. So if you are going to create a set of drawings that you're going to start using the area measurements later in Bluebeam, then this tool here allows to export the area as the area measurement. And then in Bluebeam, you can modify that later on. It's an interesting feature that not a lot of people know about. It can save up some time, since we're talking about time management in here, because we ended up creating those areas in every single set of drawings, correct? Then what else it's in here? There's some of the security, so you can establish that later in an early stage. Instead of assigning that in Bluebeam, there's some stuff like the password that you can require. And if I check this on, you also have some other permissions in here that you can use. The other thing, it's bookmarks. So when you're creating the PDF set, you can already tell Bluebeam to create bookmarks and labels as well. So the bookmarks tab here, you can customize how you want to see that bookmark. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've get a set of drawings where there's no labels or bookmarks, and this is so handy to navigate through 100 pages. It makes it easier to browse through them. So I think it's it's very nice to have that feature. So here you can customize in different ways. So you can edit the project and drawing, or if you just want the drawing list. In here, you can also edit the page number. So if I click in here, you see there's a page number on the side. Other customization, it would be using this project and drawing option here. You can add a file extension. And what it does is just edit this RVT file in here. Just kind of knows where it came from. And if you'd like, you can also add a sheet prefix right at the beginning of the sheet. The other settings that we have in here will be the label. So right here under the general settings, we have the option to use the sheet name as the page label. And again, I've caught myself a couple times doing this where I have to go and then set up the page label based on the sheet name and sheet number, just because, again, it's easy for me to navigate through the pages in Bluebeam. So I found this handy as well. So once you're done with all the settings, what we can do is we can create the file. And if I click here, create file, or I could have added the password. So let me go back here and check this. So I can create file, and then Bluebeam is start creating the PDF file. It's going to request a folder location. So I'm just going to save here. If you want to take a look at the advanced settings of how the image is compressed, some of the resolutions, you also have access to that information here. And I'm just going to click save here. This is just going to save on my desktop, and it's going to process that and open Bluebeam automatically. So the goal that we're doing this is, one of them is because I want to use the area measurements for the future. So right here, while Bluebeam is loading, I have this set of drawings here that this is basically what we are going to start discussing about, is how we're going to create the area measurements, but also make that easier and use the data that we need and linking to other files as well. So in this set of drawing here, one of the things that I want to point out is the markup list, which is located here at the bottom of the screen. You can also expand it through here. So with the markup list, this is a place where automatically tracks all the markups that are placed on a PDF. And that is going to include the author, the date that was placed, any comments that are associated, and if there's any status as well, you will track all that information. So if I place any markup here in this drawing, I'm just going to place one here. It's very simple. It starts tracking that information. One thing that we can do is we can modify the subject of this markup, just because we can use the subject and the label to filter out information. So this is going to be formatted as a table, and each row kind of represents the markup that has been added to the active PDF. Each column is going to show a particular piece of information that it's about that markup. In here, we can also hide some of this information. So under columns here, we have this list of markup. So if I uncheck author, it will hide from the column here. If I go to manage columns, I also have other columns here that might not even be showing on that list. So just be aware. Maybe you have a custom column that you created, or you want to use a certain data that it's not showing on that list. It might be because it's not in that display order, and you can change the order from here as well. Or if you'd like to change order, there's like a simple ways you can just drag and drop to move those columns and expand it sizes as well. So I'm just going to hide, since this is a responsibility one here, just because I wanted to keep this clean and with the information that we actually need for the presentation today. Awesome. I briefly mentioned about custom columns. So under the markup list, columns, and manage columns, we can create custom columns. And the goal here is you can have, there are different types of columns that you can create. So you can create choice text, you can create formulas, you can add numbers. Within the choice, you can add a value for each component. It's something that we're going to do today. With that value, you can actually use that for your estimation. So to start with, I am going to start placing a couple of area measurements in here. I already set up the scale of this drawing. So I'm just going to click on area. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 areas in here. There are going to be, let's say, one for timber floor, one for tile, the other one for carpet. And I can simply start placing this as a kind of a common thing that we ended up doing. We just placed those. But in here, there's not really a lot of information. I can't really use it to filter or maybe to add a value, a better value. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to edit some of the information. So I want this to be a floor area measurement, and this will be a timber floor. So in here in the properties, you want to change the fill pattern. Let's say I'm just going to pick this orange and change it to the opacity. It's kind of nice so you can see the background. You can add a hatch as well. So I'm just going to pick this vertical one here, and then we can start changing the color. That was Bluebeam trying to open that PDF that I was creating. And I'm going to change the font as well. And here, and the outline. So I'm just going to pick something that it's kind of on the same location. So we updated here and also updated under the markup list. I am going to do the same thing for this second floor here. So I say this is going to be part of the floor area measurement, and this will be a carpet. Floor. I am going to change the outline, add a fill pattern. And change the tag as well. The reason why I'm using the labels again is because I can filter that information in the markup list. So if I want just to see the type of floor in here, so that's why I can, I've decided to use the labels and also kind of keep track in here on the screen. So I am going to create one more, and this might be a lot of setup right at the beginning, but once you have that information, I'm going to show you later on how you can save this for a later use. So you can use some certain tools that you can save those markups for later on. So that would be handy, because then you don't need it to do this over and over. You just need it to do once. I said carpet, I meant tile floor. And I changed this one here. Opacity. And I'm going to add a, well, let's get this diagonal one here. Okay, so now I have 3 floors that I want to use as the start of my markup list. So after I created this 3 floors, now what I want to do is I'm going to start assigning more information to these floors, because so far all I have is just what I can see here. It's the length. I can see the width, the height. What it actually says that the length is actually the perimeter of the floor area. Sorry, the floor. And also have the area here. But so far, I can't really use this information. So what I'm going to do, I am going to create a custom column. So I'm going to Manager, Manage Columns, Custom Column. And I want to create one for the floor type. And this will be a choice. And the reason why is because I want to assign values for this. So as a choice, I'm going to add a timber. That's my item. And I want to assign a numeric value. So I'm just, for the presentation, just going to say timber is going to cost 50. And I am also going to do this for a tile. And assign this, let's say 40. And I'm going to create another one for the carpet. And assign a numeric value of 30 here. Then I'm going to click OK. And I click OK here. So I'm just going to drag the floor type column closer to here, move this one away. So now to assign this floor type, all I have to do is go here, double click, and then assign the correct floor type. So I want to use the carpet. This one here is the tile, and this one is the timber. So the next step will be, now we want to use this value so we can calculate the area for the floor type. So I'm going to create another custom column here. That will be the overall floor cost. And this is going to be a formula. And with the expression is all you need to do is start typing here, and then it's going to show up a list of the variables. And we want to use this information by double clicking, because it's not going to, if there's a, it's case sensitive. So if we don't type correct, then it might not show the expression might not read it correctly. So I'm just going to use the the symbol to multiply here, and I'm gonna start typing floor type. So I see here on my list, I double click, and then the format. So this is going to be currency. Notice that you can also add percentage, and it just can be a normal number here. Currency, you can pick decimal places, dollars, and yeah, I want to include totals. So I'm going to click OK and OK. It's going to pop right here at the end. I'm just going to bring this close to the area. And you notice that it automatically adds the numeric value in here. So what it's doing is just calculating the floor area by the cost. And if I start updating, so if I move this here, updates the floor area and also updates the overall cost. So you can do the same thing to calculate, let's say, electrical tray that runs along the building. You can create a measurement that's called a poly length. So I'll show you that in, let's see, under tools, measure, poly length. So we can use the poly length and do a similar idea. So instead of a poly length measurement, I could say this would be electrical measurement. You can add a label here and call electrical, because that way you can keep all of them in one spot and then maybe filter and then do a summary with that information. Changes some of this functionality, so I'm just gonna add a thickeners in here. And then you can start placing. So let's say the electrical tray runs along here. So once I place, oh, my bad. I double click to place, and now I have that information in here. So I'm just gonna redo here quickly. So now I also have this one. And then what we can do is I can create a custom column for one that says that's the run type, edit the electrical tray value, assign as, let's say, is 20. And then I add a mechanical ducts as well, and use the same poly length for to measure the ducts, and add the same assign value for it using the custom column. Then what we ended up seeing is we can create a overall cost for the MEP cost that runs the length multiplied by the run type. And then you're going to have that information in the totals. So this is also something we can do with the markup list. So the other way that we can assign, you can use this floor area cost, it would be another tool that I want to show. It would be the dynamic fill. So using the dynamic fill, you can use it to fill up an area of some of the areas that has this odd shape. So the dynamic fill will be over here, and first you need to assign which of the floor you want to use. So I'm just gonna say that's the timber floor, and then you can use this little bucket in here and then start painting the area. So it might go over a couple of areas. Once you're done, you click apply, and then you fill up the area. So like I see there's some areas in here that kind of went over, and if I don't want that, I can edit I can add a line so it blocks that area and it doesn't fill up this information here. So I can use the dynamic fill as well. And because I already used one of the tools that I created, he ended up going here at the bottom of the markup list. And you can see that it calculates the area So that's kind of nice and organized. I'm going to hit close here. So I did mention about the filter. So if I use the filter here and I click filter list, I can select which ones I want to see on my list and organize it a little bit better for like summary purposes. You can just show that information. So, and you're going to end up with a lot of more markups that I have in here. So this can be a really good way to filter your information. I'm just going to leave that in there. So the other thing that I want to show is the tool chest. So in the tool chest, we have chosen those markups for later use, and we can save this information. The way that we do is, if you look here under the tool chest, under the recent tools, I have those ones in here. But if I close the Bluebeam in this session, I don't know if you ever noticed that, but if I close the Bluebeam here, everything that I created that it's under the recent tools is going to disappear. And then all your work is kind of it's gone. So what we want to do is we want to save this. So I can either select here and then change to the floor finishes. What I did is I actually created one for floor finishes. I even have one little one here for myself. But that's what you can do under the tool chest. You can create your own here. Or if you have a company standard one, which is kind of nice, you can actually use import company standards and export. So let's say one person is responsible to create some of those tool sets, and they just send out to everyone in the company. Now everyone has the same type of set, so we're kind of organized. So one way is I can drag and drop. I can also right click in here, add it to tool chest, and then select the one that I want. Notice how it kind of changes here. There's two different modes. One, if I click here, it just plays exactly the same shape and format that I used. If I double click, it changes the properties. And now I can actually use the properties, but with a different shape. So if I had like another shape here, can place the area, but it saves the properties, but doesn't have the same format. So let me save this one here as well. So I'm going to right click here, edit to tool chest for finishes, floor finishes, and I would save it for later on. So that's pretty handy. Now to the summary part. So after I created my floor types, I already started assigning here on my drawing, I can create a summary. So there are different types of summaries that we can create in Bluebeam. So there is the PDF, there is the CSV. They are sort of similar, but the data that comes out, it's in a different format. So with the PDF, you can actually create one that contains the thumbnails, and you can add hyperlinks to that. And with the hyperlink, you can even attach that summary to the PDF set. So let's say it goes right to the bottom. And then with that summary, you can actually click because it has the hyperlink, and it brings you back to where the markup is located. With the CSV, which is the one that I want to focus today, it's going to create a CSV file that can be read in other third-party programs like Excel. And you can also create what's called the quantity link, and that's our goal here at the end. So I am just going to create a CSV summary. And with the CSV summary, here under columns, you can pick the columns that you want to show as well. So you can select just the information that matters. You can filter some of this information. And you notice that because I applied the filter in here under the markup list, you already caught that information, and it's already applying in here. So this is good because that's all what I want. under the output, so we have here the location where it's going to go. That's fine for now. The file name. You can create multiple reports per label. I can append date. I'm just going to leave the markups and totals, and the kind of important columns and headers for this. I'm going to click OK. And it automatically opens that in here. So I'm going to expand some of this information here so we can read everything. So in here, you see there is the floor type, the area. So what I want to do is I want to edit what's called the quantity link. So with the quantity link, it's going to actually create a link between the PDF set and the Excel spreadsheet. So first, I needed to save this Excel spreadsheet. In Excel, I am going to use the area under the floor type. So here, I can quantity link and then create. I'm going to add, and that's why it was important to save the file, because now I needed to browse it through the location of that PDF. Just gonna load in here. I'm gonna click OK. So here, what I want to do is actually assign what data this is going to pull from. So I want the area of the subject floor area measurement. And I can even keep going here and say this is the label for the carpet floor. You can even give it a cell name. I'm just going to leave it there for now. And I click OK. So now if I go back to my PDF, so I just want to put this here on the side and hide this guy here. So if I go here and update the carpet, let's say I'm going to update here the area. You notice that it updated on my Excel spreadsheet as well. And so that is the important part. So now I don't really need to worry of doing this again and again. So if I keep adding more area carpet, so let's say I'm going to back here, add another area. That information is updated in here, but also updated in my Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So that's all I had to show you. I hope everyone enjoyed the tutorial today. After the Q&A session, you guys can contact me after this session, and I will hand it over to Tom.
Okay, great work. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciated the insights into the product like that. And these types of videos are great online because anyone who's looking to get familiar with the product or trying to improve, they're going to be searching around for the answers to these types of questions. So I don't know if Sergey's listening. Sergey, you got to publish the questions in the Q&A panel there, because I don't have access to do that, I think. But I just had some other questions. I don't know if Joanne's going to come back on. But from your experience with SolidCAD is obviously selling a lot of Bluebeam across Canada. Who are the main customers of the product? Is it a split between people in the field working in construction doing coordination work, or estimators, or who are the main users?
I would say everyone. Like from the architecture point of view, we have architecture consultants using, we have architecture office as well. They use a lot of Bluebeam. I think that the big thing is we don't see them using the Bluebeam to its full potential. So there's a lot in Bluebeam that we can do. Like the quantity link, it's not that hard to set it up. It's something that you can improve your workflow for sure. And for time as well. Like imagine if I have to redo that a summary report every time I modify something in my set of drawings. So we can definitely improve a lot of things using Bluebeam. So I think it's very wide.
Joanne, what's your perspective on users? Do you find estimators are using like the on-screen takeoff functionality now? Like it's becoming more of the best platform of choice for that, for estimators for doing quantity takeoff?
A lot of estimators, constructors, developers, home builders are using it, engineers, quite a lot. A lot of sales recently in that area. So it's all over the board. It's quite a useful tool.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so I don't think we had any questions come in. Otherwise, I think I'd see them. But Joanne and Camilla are going to be available to take questions directly in the virtual booth that's available. So if you go back to the reception after this wraps up, you can go into the booth there and interact with them directly and get additional information. I'm sure they would be happy to work with you to improve your Bluebeam skills and across all their product lines that they sell, Revit products and other things like Autodesk products. So I'm sure to talk to you about that. Anyways, I really appreciate the time today with helping do this presentation. I just want to wrap up, have a couple closing remarks, assuming that we're not going to get any more questions in here, but just want to remind everyone that the Innovation Spotlight is available now. If you want a copy of this year's publication, go on our website. You can sign up, and we'll have one of these mailed directly to your doorstep. It's a great source of information, and it features all the winners of last year's awards and a whole bunch of interesting case studies. So please sign up for that if you'd like to get a copy of this sent to your doorstep. We have a number of upcoming events that are scheduled. July 14th is our next industry summit. We're going to be focused on the ISO 19650 and its use for the Canadian market. If you're not familiar with that standard, it's basically a structured approach for setting up a common data environment and making sure that all requirements for digital project delivery are considered up front. So it's kind of an interesting trend that's happening. We're starting to see that owners are taking a lot of interest in asking for that ISO standard being used. So we're hosting a summit to have conversations with a whole bunch of industry professionals that are familiar with the standard, as well as a few case studies potentially from around the world. September 14th, we have our next executive summit, which is going to be focused on mass timber, CLT, and the digital environment. Really interesting. Big impact on making buildings more sustainable. And obviously, as Canadians, we've got access to lots of softwood lumber, and it's a very interesting, desirable structural system for new builds. So should be a really informative and interesting day on September 14th. October 14th, we have our next industry summit, which is going to be focused on the innovation economy, the future of construction technology, and improving product site. That event is typically focused on startups and venture and new technologies, emerging technologies. So really excited for that. That's coming together great. And of course, subscribe, link, like, follow, stay informed what we're doing, and bring a friend to the organization. We're trying to grow this organization. And of course, thanks to all of our partners and sponsors, including SolidCAD and of course SolidCAD today for providing this great presentation. And I just want to mention to everyone that we are going to be getting back to in-person events, I'm sure, in the next few months, pending the changes to the rules. But we're preparing for that. Obviously, CANBIM is starting to think about that. And we are going to be doing likely some small get-togethers, like golfing outings for groups of like 10 people. We're gonna probably launch our Eats and Meets program again, which is a curated event at a restaurant where we bring together a whole bunch of industry for a really intimate dinner, talking about their work and building relationships. So we think that these small events are appropriate, and we can start launching those again very soon. And that's going to be done regionally in different cities around Canada. So if you're interested in participating in those events and you want to stay informed, just send us an email at events@cambim.com, and we'll keep you informed as it relates to these golfing outings and dinner outings if you're participating. Yeah, thanks so much, Joanne and Camila, for the great presentation. And if you want to connect with them directly, navigate to their expo booth in the system. Have a great weekend.